When you talk about deep poverty and the just complex trauma that accompanies deep poverty, the question I just go to immediately, is it even possible to flourish in the midst of poverty? And if so, what does flourishing look like?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And, similar to all other approaches to life, it's very contextual. And what does that look like in a context like Philadelphia, in pockets of neighborhoods that live in extreme and sometimes even inherited poverty? Looks a whole lot different than what it may look in a textbook elsewhere,
right.
Where you're learning about it rather than living through it.
Right.
So if you live in the mindset, in the body of an individual that may not have had the last 2, maybe 3 meals, that individual is thinking differently,
right.
And may resort to certain means in order to survive, in order to get through the day. And so to be able to strive in that context, we have to put on another lens that may not be the typical lens of the average individual that has the resources and accessibility to things as basic as food, as basic as attention and engagement with other human beings, as shelter. And so at times, striving could mean having those mechanisms necessary that will give them the access to certain things that may be sustainable to them in smaller ways. Thinking about our conversation during lunch earlier today, and maybe walking up a sidewalk that's cracked, but yet there's a flower that comes through that crack, demonstrating to us the Creator's here, even though this may be a place that some may consider a concrete jungle, or broken glass that God's reflection through the sun is reflected upon, and reminding us that He is present in our midst. So sometimes it takes those small indicators to give, particularly the poor and particularly young people, a sense of hope that, I can get through another day. So with an average person, striving may mean having a certain amount of credit cards in their pocket, driving a certain vehicle with a certain brand. To others in urban communities, it may just mean that I got through another day. And so that means 2 days for me instead of just 1 day, or an extra month instead of just 2 weeks. So I think those are some of the ways in which striving manifests itself in our communities.
There's also what people do as peers, right? There's a lot of women who are heads of households in such areas, and the way that women come together, especially when they're pregnant and so forth, the way that they come together to help each other with their babies, right? The things that they find that they can share with one another. If there's a celebration, the things that people can sort of look to do, what it means to find someone who could still do your hair so that you could look really nice for that particular day or occasion. Or if your child is in school and, hey, my child did X in school today. And that's something really big. People don't understand that academic efficacy is a huge part, especially for young people, for what it means to make it through that next day, is that they actually were able to have some accomplishments at school, right? And if a mother's going to celebrate something like that, it means it's a big deal, because it's a sign of hope that if her child could, continue this way, what might happen, right? So for her to be able to look nice on that day, right? So everybody kind of, does some things, and, so I'll lend you this, and, here, wear these, and I'll take them right off of my ear and say, wear these. Oh, yeah, they look good on you. You have to look good for your child. You want to be proud of him. Peer pieces, right? The fact that if we all have a little bit of something, we could share it together. Maybe we could make some soup together. The fact that we could share clothes, that, this child stopped, it can no longer fit, so now it goes to the next one. In our neighborhood, who's taking it next, and the kids will look around and it's a different sense. We did that at the church at one time. There were boxes, and we put everything up, and I remember 2 little girls, 6 and 7, And one little girl says to the other, I like that dress, take care of it because it's coming to me next. Right? And she knew that. And they didn't have a thing about it. It was how we were surviving together, right? That too is part of striving, right? And then the last thing I'm going to mention is attitude. You need attitude to make it, right? You need attitude to make it. Attitude means you still have agency in you, that you still are going for it. And it's an inner force, a strength that makes you keep on keeping on because, you know, you have attitude, right? And the way people are treating you, you need that attitude to save face in some places because you know how people are judging you because they don't understand. Or the games that you have to play. Oh, you have to dress yourself up to make it through these games. You know, people asking you all these questions, people looking at you a particular way, prodding you a particular way, judging you. You know they're judging you. They don't understand. So it takes a lot. You have to dress up with a lot of attitude because, girl, today I'm going to thus and such place. Right?
Right.